don't listen to it.
You are now listening to the Outdoor Drive Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Outdoor Drive Podcast. This is episode 191 with your boy East Coast Trev and my good buddy, Mr. Madman Martic.
Yeah.
What up, buddy?
What's going on? I'm just trying to podcast, drive the truck,
And navigate.
and navigate. We don't want to end up in Canada like the Stubbs brothers.
Well, that does happen, dude. I mean, that's such as life.
I would say you're DJing, but not with the radio. You're just running that, whatever that thing is.
It's called
over
the mixer,
there.
Steven.
Running the mixer.
I know you don't know what that is.
I don't really care.
Yeah,
I don't want anything to do with that thing.
well, that's,
Just give me the mic.
I guess. You're not even good at that.
I just,
I don't know what you're good at.
Come on here and talk shit. Have fun.
I guess that's what it's all about, right?
That's right.
So it is the start of the Connecticut 2023 season. Massachusetts has opened, and the good boys up there, Seth and Lou. Seth knocked down a bird yesterday. Lou knocked down a bird today, and Justin was very close to killing a bird. And so
Laid down some bomb footage.
I'll tell you what, we have 2 states within our crew, so it's 2 opening days in 2 days. 2 opening days in 2 days, and we've knocked down a bird yesterday and today. So Massachusetts, Connecticut.
Yeah, but podcast
and then,
land, it's all screwed up.
Well,
It
yeah,
was what,
but I'm not even going there. I'm not even going there.
Monday and Wednesday in podcast land.
Oh, yeah, Monday. Yeah, I guess that's right.
They'll listen to it's Thursday.
Oh, that's
Well, whatever.
true.
They-
And then
they know the routine.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. I'm not really worried about it and getting that technical. The other thing too is that the boys, I know we got a little bit of background noise. We're actually driving. We're headed back from scouting, and we had a phenomenal day. I don't want to get too far into that because that's kind of what the podcast is about, recapping of what has happened in the first day of the season and everything like that. And yeah, I think that we should get through the house chores first, and then we'll break into what everything's really all about, and we'll snap into it.
That's pretty much what we do every week.
I know, but I think if we just do it this way. For you guys that don't know, I'm shot. I'm absolutely
Dude,
tired, and it's hot as hell in the truck.
I need a nap, and I'm not a napper.
No, but I definitely need a nap. So let's get through the house rules. First off, big thank you to Huntworth Gear. They are the official
Loving them
camouflage.
today.
Yeah, official camouflage of the Outdoor Drive. If you guys haven't checked them out, make sure to get on over to huntworthgear.com and get some good old camo over there. Pretty durable, really good stuff. Been running it through the briars and stuff like that. It's just a great,
Dude,
great
I say it all the
camouflage.
time, but I love the built-in face mask because I hate face masks. I lose them. I forget them. I just throw that hoodie on, and I can't forget my face mask. It's right there.
I know, it's super important. I mean, like, it's just nice.
Although I didn't use it today, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, but so also Nor'easter Game Calls, nor'eastergamecalls.com. They are the official calls of the Outdoor Drive. Mark's been absolutely killing it. We knocked down some really good birds with the Nor'easter calls so far this week, and hopefully then on to more. Also, New Era Archery, neweraarchery.com, the home of the Zeus broadheads. If you guys haven't checked them out for your archery needs, those are the broadheads that we use here at the Outdoor Drive. And then last but not least, Bowhunters United. So if you guys haven't checked those out, we do have a link, and I'll put it below. You guys can just click on that link and head on over and sign up for Bowhunters United. Some really great stuff and some really great stuff that comes back to you for signing up for Bowhunters United. So go and check those guys out, and they're also the sponsor of the News for Your Cruise. So let's take a quick break. Let's spin it on over to Mike Salter for a little bit of news this week.
All right, guys, why don't we buckle up and see what's going on in the world of news with Mr. Mike Salter.
Hey everyone, we're going to kick this one off with some legislative victories. First in Montana, where HB 533 and SB 533 were aimed to revise the law surrounding non-resident hunting, which would have greatly impacted college students' hunting licenses. On April 18th, the proposed repeal of this law was tabled and is no longer moving forward. Now in Maryland, where SB 327 has passed, which will increase opportunities for public land hunters, establish a new wildlife conservation education and outreach program, establish a stamp for hunting Sika deer, and authorize non-resident college and university students to purchase resident hunting licenses. These victories are possible and a result of outdoorsmen and women taking action on these bills. Now to some legislation that still needs some support. To Maine, where LD 626 LD 1166, and LD 1241 have been proposed. LD 626 would allow youth hunting on Sundays. LD 1166 would allow landowners to hunt on their own land on Sundays. And LD 1241 would allow Sunday hunting with a bow or a crossbow. All of these would be great steps forward in removing the Sunday hunting prohibitions. Now to Maryland, where 2 bills have been passed and awaiting the governor's signature. HB 466 would allow Sunday hunting of game birds and mammals in Worcester County with certain restrictions. And HB 1087, which would allow in Wicomico County Sunday hunting of game birds and mammals on certain Sundays, subject to certain restrictions, to allow Sunday hunting on public land, subject to certain time restrictions, and adding the county to the list of counties with archery safety zones. These are both waiting signature from the governor, and people are encouraged to email the governor's office voicing support for these bills. Now to California, where the Central Coast Heritage Protection Act was reintroduced in Congress. The legislation would add nearly 250,000 acres of wilderness areas and designate 159 miles of wild and scenic rivers in California's Central Coast. This area includes the Thule elk hunt zones and one of California's largest native grassland habitats that provides deer, upland game, and some wild pig hunting opportunities. So reach out to your legislators in support of this act. Now to Oregon, where help is needed to pass the right to hunt legislation. HJR 5 would ensure the right to fish, hunt, harvest, and gather food in Oregon. It would also protect Oregon sportsmen and women from an outright ban on any of these activities and still allows reasonable regulation on these activities. And you can voice your support for this one through howlforwildlife.org. Now to Vermont, and thanks to Brad Jarvis for sending this one along. When the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service released the hunting and fishing plan for the Silvio Conti Refuge in 2021, it contained several restrictions on the use of hunting dogs, including restriction on one section that prohibits the use of dogs for hunting any species except ruffed grouse. These changes would have been proposed by hunters and the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department had they been discussed in the plan sent out for review. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has now opened a public comment period to address the rules they put in place without giving the public a chance for input. The plan can be reviewed on U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's website, and comments should be sent to Conti_Vermont_hunt comments at fws.gov and can be addressed to other U.S. Fish and Wildlife staff, so contact me if you would like any of those. Lastly, to Nebraska, where the Game and Parks Commission has approved recommendations for the 2023 deer, antelope, and elk hunting seasons. Changes include removing 70 either sex and 282 doe fawn antelope permits, including archery season on all mule deer conservation area permits, making them valid for all open seasons. Prohibiting antlerless mule deer harvest statewide on all lands open to public hunting except land in the Open Fields and Waters program. Reducing the non-resident either sex and buck-only deer permits to 10,000, excluding landowner and youth permits. Reducing non-resident archery deer permit quota to 3,000 and making it not valid for mule deer and MDCA. Reducing the non-resident muzzleloader deer permits to 1,000. Creating a new Plains whitetail firearm deer permit. Reducing available November firearms permits by 5.9% and antlerless only choice permits by 7.4%. Setting the non-resident quota at 15% for the Calamus West, Plains, Sandhills, and Upper Platte November firearms and Frenchman MDCA permits. Restructuring of the elk management units, adding 39 bull elk permits and 214 antlerless elk permits, and minor adjustments to other deer, elk, and antelope permits to meet management objectives. So check those out if you plan on hunting Nebraska. As always, if you have anything to send to me, it'd be greatly appreciated. Reach out to me at Mike Salter on Facebook or beard_bowhunter21 on Instagram. And with that, enjoy the rest of your ride.
All right. Thank you, Mike. We really appreciate you, buddy. And Bowhunters United for all that they do for the Outdoor Drive podcast. Oh, man. What a great start to the season. I'll tell you what. It's been something else. And I'm looking forward to hearing Seth and Lou's stories, and I'm hoping that Justin knocks one down here in the next day or two, and we can either get them on a full podcast about what's going on or some Tales from the Tailgates. And I know that we're a week behind on Tales from Tailgates. We did not release one on Tuesday, but they will come very shortly. Just been a little bit crazy and hectic with scouting, getting ready for the season, forgetting my computer at Martic's house, and not being able to
Blame
put out.
me, yep.
Yeah, well, it's always Martic's
I'll
fault.
take the heat.
At least somebody's got to get the blame.
broad
It's not
shoulders.
me.
I got broad shoulders.
Whatever it is, dude.
Hey, don't worry about the mule. Just load the wagon.
That's right. I don't even know. What? Just stop. You're ridiculous. But man, I'll tell you what, dude. Opening day at Connecticut, we were a little bit undecisive of how this was going to go.
I want to go back first before we jump in today.
Okay, I have wet shoes, by the way. This is ridiculous.
So, how about Sunday? It poured all day. I don't know if you had fun. I had a blast. We met up, 10 a.m.? I think we met 10 a.m. Sunday.
Yep.
Jumped in my truck and literally burned through an entire tank of gas. Just driving all over the state. It was raining. We were glassing fields.
What do you call that? You call that Bin Laden? No, what did you call it? Something's fuel or something? I don't remember. Never mind.
We burned a tank of gas, so we were funding the war in Ukraine.
Oh, that's what we were doing. I forgot.
So anyways, drove all over the state, all eastern Connecticut, glassing up birds and fields in the rain. Truck's running good. I don't know if you guys remember the episode where I reminded everybody to make sure your truck's running good, make sure you take care of your maintenance and all that good stuff. My truck's running great. Until Monday when I leave work and I get a check engine light and completely lose my mind. But long story short, easy fix, truck's good, stress-free. We're ready to rock and roll for the opener turkey season.
Well, actually, no. Let's even bring it back even more because Monday I had a crack in my
thermostat housing.
The thermostat housing.
Right.
So
right.
It's a day before season, and now I got to fix my truck to be able to go.
So Trev's got truck problems. So we schemed this plan. I said we're gonna hunt together anyways. Why don't you just come down to my house Tuesday night, the night before opener? We'll go around, we'll roost. Let's just roll around in one truck all week. Park your truck. You won't have to drive anywhere. We'll just jump in my truck. There's no sense of you commuting back and forth to home. We'll just turkey camp at my house.
Right.
Great plan. And then my check engine light comes on and traction control and whatever. Long story short, truck's fixed. We're ready to roll. Just, wouldn't be an interesting opening day if you didn't have some kind of craziness.
So how about this? So I leave my house, and I told you about this, but so I left my house on Tuesday to come down to your house to meet up with you to just sight in the guns and whatever else, shoot the saddies through the guns and make sure everything's on point before the season.
Little confidence booster.
I didn't even get 2 miles from my house, and I got pulled over by the state police doing 19 over. So the guy comes up to the driver's side door, and he goes, you know why I pulled you over? I go, yeah, when I went to go past you, I knew I was getting pulled over. That's why I pulled over on the side of the road. He's like, I'm here on a speeding grant. These people will drive too fast down this road. You're doing 19 over, not enough for a ticket, but it will result in a warning if everything checks out. And I'm thinking to myself, at first I'm thinking I'm going to go to jail, right? Because I'm like, dude, I'm doing 19 over. How am I not going to get in trouble, right? 15 over is reckless, right? Yeah. And I'm flying 20. I don't know. It's a 25, and I'm doing 19 over, so that would put me somewhere in the 40s. Yeah, not good. Not good. I think I was doing 42. But anyways, so everything checks out, and I end up getting a warning. But I'm thinking, all right, this is great. The housing on my thermostat's messed up, and I had to fix that. Now we're going to start off the trip, and I'm going to get pulled over 2 miles. I'm like, this is just absolutely ridiculous.
Hey, you know what they say? It's got to get worse before it gets better.
That's right. Things come in threes.
And it got better quick.
Yeah, it got way better quick. So, yeah, man. So we sighted in the guns on Tuesday and got everything all checked out and working.
I wouldn't say sight in. I think it was just like a final check.
Yeah. Well, so we had gone from one we both were shooting different ammunition, and then we went to Saddies. So we just wanted to make sure that we were on paper properly. And I'll tell you what, I was more than on paper properly. And I had messaged Aaron. After I had actually left with you, and I was going out to scout, and you went out to scout your side.
We split up there.
Yeah. And I messaged Aaron, and I sent him the pictures. I said, I think we're on for the morning. And so I sent him the pictures of 40 and 20, and he's like, do you think the next round I should tighten them up for you? And I was like, yeah, I think they're going to get away if I shoot at them, They were just super tight.
And any listeners that don't know what we're talking about, we just did an episode with Aaron Satterfield from, Saddies LLC?
Yeah.
Just, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was episode 189.
Highly recommend. One of my favorite episodes. Go back and check it out if you missed it.
Yeah, it was a great episode. Kind of dug right into what, tungsten is and how it's used and so on and so forth. Because people talk crap about it on how, why would somebody want to shoot at such a long distance and so on and so forth. But it's not that. It's the, the ethical part of shooting turkeys and killing turkeys. And why would you not want to do it the right way? And tungsten is that tool to be able to make that stuff work out well.
Could have made or break my shot today.
Totally could have made or break your shot.
Distance had nothing to do with it. But we're getting there.
Yeah. So so we ended up sighting in the guns, split up. I went and scouted one area. The bird was there. Seen a couple other birds in another area. Super excited, but I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go there in the morning. I would have rather, kind of had a game plan, see what you had done, see if we couldn't, put up a bird at your house.
Yeah, I think the thing we struggled, I wouldn't say struggled with, but the thing we contemplated the most Tuesday night was we knew we had birds in multiple areas. It was structuring our game plan with what made the most sense for the week. We've got some weather coming in later, and just trying to pick and choose where to go first, second, third, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and try to come up with some kind of game plan.
And then dealing with public on opening
Public
day.
land. Yeah.
I mean, it's always tough. And then, with the scarce amount of birds, I mean, as a national, on the national level, with the whole entire country's down 30% in population. So, like, the thing, it's a little bit harder turkey hunting. And we're totally seeing it. Those areas that those birds normally hold in year after year after year, where I've killed multiple birds in these certain areas, are now seeing that big hit. And there's not as many birds. And I think a lot of it has to do with predatory, where the predators are causing this problem. And we're starting to really see that effect. I mean, it's really taking a toll on us, to be honest. And
yeah.
But it is what it is, man. You still grind and you kill a couple birds. You're not going to take your 5, but you're going to do what you can, kill 1 or 2 and then move on for the season. But,
right.
So, anyways, getting back to it. So, I ended up scouting one area, found some birds, and then you scouted, and then I met you back at the house, and we ended up breaking into the woods, where you've been scouting that bird for almost 3 weeks now, and getting those birds roosted. And so we had broken into the woods, and you had to hit the owl call, and I'm like, dude, there's one right there. And you're like, no, he's down further. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm
First of all, I
right
can't
here.
hear for shit.
Well,
my hearing's terrible.
And I don't understand this, because everybody that I turkey hunt with can't hear anything. And I'm like,
what?
Matt's the same way. Whitish the same way. He'll be like, oh, it's over there. I'm like, no, dude, no, it's not. It's right there. And he's half deaf too. I think it's just from shooting guns all the time. And then you're half deaf. Everybody I turkey hunt with is deaf. What fun is turkey hunting if you're deaf?
I think, though, I notice it doesn't matter who I hunt with. How many times have you been with a buddy and you hear a gobble and you never agree where it is? It can just be the way you're facing and the way I'm facing and the way it hits your ears, and you'll both point in 2 different directions.
I think that you're just deaf, bro.
No.
That's definitely what it is. But anyway, so there was one that was a little bit.
Will agree with what I'm saying.
There was one a little bit closer, and I knew it. But then you wanted to push a little bit further, which then we ended up finding that bird that was a little bit further, and that was the bird that we ended up deciding on going and hunt.
I've been keeping tabs on those birds for quite a while now, and they're not very regular with their roosting areas. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes they're to the east, sometimes they're to the west, sometimes they're to the south, sometimes they're very close, sometimes they're far away. It is what it is. That's why you have to do it the night before to know exactly where they're going to be in the morning, right?
Yeah, but the problem, as we went into in episode 190 with Matt Weddish, that night roosting is not always the end-all be-all to turkey hunting.
Right.
And we've learned this multiple times. And the birds seem to be a little bit quieter this year than they've have in past years, which is super weird to me. Like, just not gobbling to that extent of gobbling. I don't get it. I don't know why. It's so weird. Like, the bird that we worked today, I mean, like, both birds that we worked today, they just didn't call back the way that you would think that they would call back, and with the reactions that they had given. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you work a turkey and that thing just gobbles every single time, or it doesn't gobble at all. I mean, it's like, but you have to throw out 3 calls in a sequence to then get a return gobble.
Yeah, there's like 1 to 3.
Super
I
weird.
agree with that, yeah.
I don't know. It was just totally weird. It was, I don't know. Anyways, so we end up finding this one bird, and we then decide, you know what, it'll be way more fun to hunt together on opening day, try and get a little bit better footage and film the hunt, and then we'll go and we'll move on another bird.
Well, there's another factor to this, too. If we hunted the other birds that we wanted to hunt, we were looking at, 3 a.m. leave the house?
Yeah, I mean, depending on where we were driving to, yeah.
And walking, too.
Yeah.
And if we hunted this bird, we could walk out my door at 5 a.m. That sounded a little bit more appealing.
Yeah, but the thing, too, is that, and one of the things when we did get up at 5, it got a lot lighter faster than I thought it was going to get, to be honest. I mean, just from 2 weeks ago, dude, it was like, I swear that legal shooting light wasn't until 5:40. I don't know what it was today, but it was like
5:24 or something.
Yeah,
like
dude,
that
came quick. Like
I wasn't worried about it because I knew how far off that bird was.
Right.
Like I knew we weren't going in tight to him.
Well, that one bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the bird we were setting up for
Yeah.
was nowhere near us. He was just within earshot and workable, but there's no way he was going to see us or anything like that. So I wasn't too worried about going in gray light.
So we ended up getting down in there, and he's fired up on the limb, gobbling, whatever. We get all set up. So I hit the call, and it might actually, the background noise might be getting a little bit louder. We're actually on the highway, and Martic's obviously got giant tires on his truck, so you probably hear those humming in the background, but we are the drive. So
Fucking
this is
trail
the way that it
rated,
goes.
dude.
So anyways, so we get all set up in there, and I hit the call, dude, and it was mad early, dude, and that thing was already on the ground.
Yeah.
And, like, earlier than I would expect him to be. So we start calling at him. He gobbles back, like, 3 or 4 times, going the other direction. And so just every, like, 10 minutes, hit a call. And then he would kind of, like, go east to west. And you would kind of hear him, but kind of still faint. Got a little bit closer at one point, and then completely shut up.
Yeah.
And then that was about 6:30.
I wasn't too concerned. I've worked birds in this exact area before. He pretty much did what I expected. I knew at some point he was going to come off that hill to where we were. My biggest thing was trying to keep you there long enough to wait for it to happen. But yeah, like you said, he sat up there on the hill. He walked back and forth, gobbled, shut up, and I don't think we heard from him for
I don't know. It was
45
quite some
minutes,
time.
maybe.
It was definitely
Nothing?
quite some time,
and
if not longer.
And you would periodically call just to check him.
And he wouldn't respond.
Wouldn't respond.
And so we're just like sitting there, and I had just called actually, and we had actually at one point we thought we had heard some down below.
Well, leaves. I thought I heard something walking. Yeah.
And we had hit the call, and one lit off behind us.
Back from where we came from.
Way up there.
Yeah.
So that was the other bird that I had heard on the roost, I think.
Yeah.
And then he just never said anything. We might have, A, gotten too close to him, or he just shut up on the limb, which is both very, very good possibilities. So we thought we had heard leaves, and then like 10 minutes later I call again, and you still kind of hear rustling, but it wasn't like...
It's like down over the rise, so it's kind of muffled. There's a stream down there.
You can't really hear it all that well. It was kind of weird. And both of us are just sitting there, you know, just playing on phones.
Yeah, no gloves on, no face mask on.
Just kind of BSing more or less quietly, just sitting there waiting for that gobble to come off the top of that hill.
I'm not trying to deer hunt a turkey. Not doing it. I grind all fall for a deer, ready to rock at any given second. When it comes to turkey season, if he's gobbling and I know he's in that workable range, you know, it's game time, gloves are on, face mask on, cameras are on, ready to rock. But if I don't feel like I'm in the game, I'm just chilling.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things about turkey hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just a chill time. I'm more of a runner and gunner, and we always, both of us actually say this. I would never kill a quiet turkey.
Yeah,
you for one reason and me for another. But I've never killed a silent bird ever in my life. Because I'm a runner and gunner. If they're not gobbling, I'm not killing them. And you, because no mask, not paying attention, smoking cigarettes, whatever the case may be. And so we're sitting there, and we thought we heard something down below. And almost simultaneously, me and Martic look at each other, and I'm like, turkey, he's right there. And his head pops up at like 20 yards, dude. Right over this little rise. And I'm like, oh, crap, what are we going to do? So he's like just standing there.
Yeah,
momentarily.
My gun's across my lap. Red dot's not turned on. Safety's on.
But I'm thinking like, dude, I'm like, Martic, do something. Like, bro, shoot him, something. But I'm not knowing that your red dot's not on. But I'm like, bro, come on.
I'm good.
Just swing and shoot.
I'm good, but I was just stuck. I just needed him to make a move first.
Yeah, but I would have just, whatever. It is what it is. So he starts to turn, and I'm like, okay, he didn't putt. He kind of like looked through us, didn't really see us because we were kind of like motionless, and we're just sitting there. No cameras on, no nothing, dude. We're just sitting there literally with our pants down, and we couldn't do a thing. And I'm thinking, Martic, do something. Martic, do something. And he like goes to turn, and I'm like, okay, he's going over the rise, and he's gonna be gone. So as soon as he went behind the rise or started to go behind the rise, I cut at him. And as soon as I cut, he turns and starts going to the right.
The broadside, yeah.
And then he comes up over the rise one more time and shows his head. At this point now, you have your safety off.
Well, when he turned from my angle, he went behind like a little, I don't want to call it a blowdown, but like a log jam or something, just some debris. And as soon as he went behind the debris, it was like hit the red dot button, flip the safety, pulled up the gun. And as soon as he cleared the other side of that blowdown, I had a window, and I just
shot him.
Just pulled up and just put the red dot there and just pulled the trigger.
So he goes completely right down instantaneously.
That
fatties
steamrolled him.
Yeah.
Just rolled him.
So he's on the ground, dude, and we're like, what just happened, dude? This was absolutely wild.
That all took place in 5 seconds. It was a 5-second encounter.
Insanity. Just reactional, boom, boom, boom. Call, shoot, done. Now he's on the ground. But we're both just looking at ourselves like, what just happened, dude? Like, he gobbled up on the hill, and then now he's in our lap. Like, didn't even,
300 yards?
Dude, I have no idea, bro.
I'm guessing, yeah.
It was absolutely crazy. So we're hooting and hollering, do our thing, take pictures. Absolute great bird. Phenomenal. Martic's first
opening day bird.
Congratulations. Was absolutely amazing. Slapping hands, hanging out,
smoking
talking,
cigars.
And got on Snapchat, FaceTime with the boys, told the story, this, that, and the other thing. In the meantime, Lou ends up shooting one, too. He shot his a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm. But we hadn't talked because we were still in the middle of our hunt.
Right. Well, he had texted us.
Yeah, but we hadn't talked.
No.
Yeah.
And then he was actually on his second bird, working on his second bird. And so anyway, so we do our thing. We pack it up. We're like, all right, let's get out of here. Let's see if we can get up and onto the top and see if we can't
strike that other
bird that was behind us. And then we went up Mount Rushmore, the side of Mount Rushmore.
Straight up.
That was,
well,
that was pretty good.
Well, that's the thing, though. We could have went to the left. It's the easy route, but we're exposed. And we could have went to the right, easy route, but we're exposed. So we had to go right up the face. I mean, it was like, we basically climbed Mount Everest this morning.
Called at the top of the hill, and we ended up striking him. It was wicked far off. And so we ended up making a set. Called. Nothing.
Moved up 75 yards. Called again. Nothing.
So we said, all right, well, let's go clean this bird, and let's get into a second property, as game plan was. So we get back down to the house. Sarah was there, took some pictures for us. Some beautiful pictures. Hung out, did the thing, cleaned the bird.
No, we were in the middle.
That's right, we were taking the pictures. I forgot about that.
And that damn bird fired off right where we were just trying to strike him.
So he had come right in. Mm-hmm. Was doing the silent thing again. So
I looked at Trev and I said, let's go kill him. I mean, he's right there. Shh. I fucked up. I said this should be a quick one. Let's just go bang this.
Exactly.
Let's go bang this one out real quick and then go on to the game plan.
So we go in there. We tried striking him right kind of where he was. He wouldn't strike with a crow call.
Yeah, well, remember we kind of took that back door in, so,
Yeah, but I'm saying when we parked the truck, we tried to strike him to see if we would light off.
Yep.
Then we went in the back door, kind of got over there, got up on that hill.
Well, we stopped right there before the hill because I wanted to get to that hill. But I knew if he was where I thought he was, it might be too close.
Right.
So I wanted you to strike him first. You hit him with the turkey call. He gobbled. He was just far enough away and down over the hill where I said, let's go. And we moved up, I don't know, what is it, another 40 yards maybe to those oak trees?
Yeah.
And set up.
And so he starts striking. He's coming in, and finally ends up coming up the hill.
Yeah,
and he's
and
gobbling, but it's like in sequence second run, and
it's like every other
weird,
second run too.
It's so weird. Finally, he gets close enough. I'm like, okay, he's coming.
And it's one of those perfect classic setups where we're just over the crest of the hill. So when he pops up to where he can see where we are,
Done.
he's already in range.
What we thought.
Well, he was.
I mean, yeah, at 40.
Yeah.
Would you like to put him at 20?
Yeah, but we were set up for the camera too,
Right.
which didn't work out either. But
No. So he ends up coming up the hill, and I'm like, he's coming. And then I just saw his head. I didn't see him because I'm like on the right-hand side, 10 yards behind you.
Yeah, the first thing I saw was the top of his fan. He was coming in at full strut. And then he broke strut, kind of turned to the left, head sticking up, doing that looker. I had the bead right on him, 40 yards. I just shot my gun at 40 yards yesterday. That's a dead bird. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, there's no way Trev got any footage. He's 10, 15 yards behind me. There's no footage there. I just killed a bird this morning with no footage. I'm like, I'm not going to shoot another one right now with no footage. We want the footage. We're trying to get one on film. So I didn't pull the trigger because at the time he seemed like there was no reason for him not to continue to come.
But that happens. Them mature birds, it's not that they see something that they don't like. They just don't see what they would like. That's how it goes.
He knew where that call was coming from, and he got to the point where he could see that location, and there was nothing there.
There's just not what he wanted to see. And his distraction wasn't somewhere else.
I know he didn't pick me off because I was rock solid. I had my face mask on. I had my gloves on.
We're tucked in.
Going back to Matt Weddish, I don't think this was discussed on the podcast, but it was a conversation I had with him at Mohegan Sun. I knew the second I didn't pull the trigger, I knew I screwed up because what he did was he was coming in. And sometimes, when those birds come in, they kind of like zig and zag a little bit, but their chest is always like facing you. Like he'll turn to the right, turn to the left, chest towards you. He showed me his back. He turned over his right shoulder, and the second he showed me his ass, I said he's not coming.
Yeah, they're always in the forward motion of direction.
Right.
When they're coming in. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's always. It's
like they give you the cold shoulder. As soon as they turn that shoulder to you, you're
normally when they give you that cold shoulder, the next thing is a putt.
Yeah, he didn't
Guaranteed.
putt, though.
No,
he may have. I didn't hear. What is this strobe light going on here?
I don't know.
We're in the middle of a rave on Route 2.
Yeah, that's good. Huh. We're actually on 395. Oh, no, this is Route 2. Yeah, you're right.
Just let me worry about the driving.
All
okay?
Right, whatever. I don't know. It is a rave. That's pretty crazy. But anyways, they're always in the forward motion towards you. And when they turn, that's when the putt comes. Head goes up, putts, and then they turn and they burn.
Mm-hmm.
That did not happen. He goes down the hill. Once he gets down the hill, we then try to move forward just a little bit, hoping that we can call him back to that area.
Well, he went down in that gut, and he responded a few times down there. That's when I looked back at you. I knew you were going to stay where you are. I said, let me move up. I don't even know how far I moved up. 30 yards, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
I belly crawled. Imagine me belly crawling like G.I. Joe over here. Belly crawled up like 30 yards, got to another oak tree.
You weren't doing it like a ninja.
Absolutely not. Fuck that. So, anyways, I moved up 30 yards. My thought was and I knew it was a long if just by the way he threw that cold shoulder. My thought was if Trev could intrigue him enough to come back up that hill, he's not going to expect me to be 30 yards closer, and I'm going to get that shot way sooner. I tried working him like that for not too long.
No, it was like 10 minutes, if that.
What he ended up doing is he started to work the terrain. It would have been to our right. There's like a
spine.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a ledge. So it's like, he can come up the left side or he can come up the right side. He can't come up the middle because it's just a sheer face. So I knew what he was doing. There's a road right there. He was circling around that way. So now he'd be coming up from our right. So then I had a belly crawl all the way back to Trev. Got back to you, and now same thing. He's holed up down in that bottom for what, 45 minutes?
Yeah, we kept gobbling at me, come a little bit closer, and then he would kind of drift away.
And you could
Or
tell
it was just
doing,
strutting,
going
turning
left,
one or the other.
going to the left, going to the right,
Right.
going to the left, going to the right. And then every once in a while, it seemed like he was like facing us when he gobbled. So we'd be like, oh,
He's
okay,
coming closer.
See, that sounds closer. And then he'd go left or right. And I'd look at Trev and I'm like, dude, what do you want? We got to do something. Like, this is a Mexican standoff right now. And just when we were thinking about just making a move or backing off, he'd sound closer.
I swore at one point he was almost in our lap,
Dude,
but
I thought
I don't know
I thought I heard
how-
I thought I heard the leaves. I thought I heard him walking at one point.
I thought so too, man. I really did.
Yeah.
I thought that he was going to come and he was going to do what he needed to do, and then we decided that we would back out and try and get back down on his level.
The funniest part was we were right on top of it's literally the highest point on the entire hill is where we are, and a lot of birds like to strut up there because they like getting on that high ground and whatever. And I remember looking at you and I was like, dude, let's make a move. And you're like, we're stuck here. And I'm like, we are not stuck here, dude. Like,
We
I
are
know,
stuck there,
I
though.
know this property too well. I'm like, I can get us wherever you want right now.
No, I know, but the thing is, he was that close, and once you stood up, he could see you, and that's virtually what ended up happening in the movement. I think
we got too tight on the move on the back end.
on the back end.
Yeah. But
So
anyway,
what we ended up doing, we decided to then back out and then come around the peninsula and get on his level and then call him back to where he had stood off on us
At the first time,
yeah,
and never heard him again.
Never heard him again. So he locked up.
But
And-
I mean, you could say we messed up with the aggressive move, but at that point, what are we gonna do? Sit there on top of that
all
hill and
no.
just sit there and call like
It's all or nothing.
right?
It's an all or nothing move, and that's an aggressive move. But that's the difference of putting a bird in the bag and not putting a bird in the bag in that
Right.
situation. And that's where running and gunning is an important thing. That's where doing that that's where my favorite thing is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an all or nothing aggressive move in running and gunning. Like, being aggressive sometimes, it's like during the rut and buck hunting where you get into that bedding ground, you get in those areas that you wouldn't get into, and that's how I play turkey hunting. Very aggressive.
Right.
It's an all or nothing, and if I don't kill him that day, I'm gonna kill him the next day. You know what I'm saying? And that happens a lot where you just push those limits. You need to get on them. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and it's what needed to be happen. What are you gonna do? Sit on top of that hill?
Well, even me, and I'm a lot more patient when it comes to that stuff. Like, if it was just me and we didn't have the camera gear and you weren't with me and it was just me sitting on top of that hill, I could sit there for a couple hours and play the game with them and maybe even go quiet and just see what happens. But even I, at that point, was like, something's got to give here. We're burning time. We've got one bird dead. Let's make a move, all or nothing. It's either going to work or it's not. And then we can move on and go find another bird because, you know, it's getting a little later in the morning, and I didn't want to burn a whole day playing cat and mouse with this bird. I know this bird pretty well. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about him. He'll be back. We'll be able to dance another day. So let's just go for it right now.
Yeah, so we backed out, and then that's what ended up happening. And then, so we left. We left there. It was like, well, we went back and we cleaned the bird, got all that all situated and everything else, and then we ended up taking off to the next ground.
With the brownies. We took a plate of brownies with us.
We did
like
take
an
a
entire
full plate of brownies with us.
Like, we
We
didn't
did
pack
not
them up.
need
We
them
just
at
brought
all.
the whole plate and put them right in my center console.
Yep, and then ate the nice, juicy, fudgy, cooked brownies that Sarah made for us. And, you know, the thing is, like, you come to turkey camp, and I was like, oh, you know, I'm on a diet. Yeah, you don't do that when Sarah's around because you make sure that you're fed and well-fed. And I'm dying as we speak because all the crap that I ate today. But anyways, so we ended up leaving the farm, and we went down and checked a couple of spots, dude, and we didn't hear a gobble for the rest of the day. Literally have not heard a gobble since we left the
I
farm.
didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
But
so
you're absolutely right.
we broke into 2 spots. We saw one strutting, but on some private ground, way off of public.
Yeah.
And could not make a move on him. Could not make a move on them. And then we ended up going to another spot, and we ended up walking like 3 miles and didn't hear a single gobble. Which is weird because it was one of the areas that I had roosted birds the night before.
The night before, yeah.
And not had anything happen. But, I mean, that's part of it, dude. That's turkey hunting. I don't know what is going on. It is super weird this year.
Do you think it has something to do with everyone thinking that everything hit early, so even though it's our opening day, it's kind of like really they're playing like it's week 2 or week like at the end of week 1?
I don't, in my personal opinion, honestly, I think it would be better because as those birds go into, once they start to hit the nest and this, that, and the other thing, those birds are, I mean, that week, that normal 2 and 3 week is when they're absolutely gung-ho fire. When them hens are on the nests and they haven't bred a turkey or a hen in a couple of days, they're on fire.
Right.
I mean, dude, it gets stupid.
When there's right now, all the hens are receptive.
Correct.
In a week, 2 weeks from now,
they're not.
None. So they think they have the chance. So
that late season. So going back to what you just said, do I think that it's like that? No, I think it's something else. I really do think it's something else. I don't know what it is. Maybe that there is a lot of hens that are still receptive, and it's keeping those gobblers from doing stuff. I mean, like the Tom that we were working, come to find out with it after when we were looking at cameras, he had a hen with him when we were working him. You know what I'm saying? The turkeys that I saw yesterday road scouting, there was one Tom, 3 Jakes, and 4 or 5 hens. They were all together last night. You know what I'm saying? And then there was another Tom down the road that still had a hen with him, and he's gobbling at her, chasing her around in the end of the day, which it could have been a year-old hen, too. That's another possibility, too. So there's a lot of variables in there, dude. Do I think that it's at that point where they're just not gobbling? No. Because they had come in early? No. That's actually better because, as we had talked about in the podcast with Matt, is that your season is set up to be half to 3/4 of the way through their, we'll call it I was going to call it estrus, but yeah, through their breeding cycle, so that
you start talking estrus, you're going to be all fired
yeah,
up.
I know. Well, that's
hey, you know me and deer.
Yeah, but so it's do I think it's one thing? No, I don't. I just think that it was an off day. You have to remember we're about to have a barometric change today. It went from a high and it's going to a low, which play a big part in the gobbling too. A little bit warmer than normal. There's a lot of variables there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just one of those. It's just turkey hunting, dude. And if it wasn't like that, then we wouldn't be turkey hunting all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what makes turkey hunting what turkey hunting is.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it fun.
You remember the hard ones. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun to have those quick bangers right off the stick.
Bro, I don't think I've ever killed a turkey off the stick. Never in my life. I don't think that was like a fly down.
I honestly don't even set up to kill them off the stick. I don't like being that close to the roost. I'd rather let them hit the ground and then call them another 100 yards or whatever.
Well, fly down like right into the spread. Like you hear those stories and stuff. Like, yeah, I don't think, like Seth had talked about it, like killing a bird before 7 a.m. I've definitely killed birds before 7 a.m.
You killed that bird this morning before 7.
Yeah, it was 6:50.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know. I like calling them, dude. I like making them work. My time is 10 to 2.
7 a.m. is...
Or 9 to 2.
You're still working that bird. I'm talking about those, like, 5:45 before 6 a.m. birds.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
As soon as they hit the ground.
No. That's what I'm saying. I don't think I've ever put one in the ground within an hour of sunrise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if it was 5:20, I don't think I've killed one between 5:20 and 6:20.
Right.
It's just not my thing. And and you're on birds, but just working them in, and I don't get that close.
Yeah.
I just don't. Because a lot of the times in the terrain that we're hunting, if they're up and we're trying to hunt up, now they're being able to see us, whether there's ground cover or leaf cover or not. So you have to try and keep that in the back of your mind and it's still early, dude. That's the other thing. Like when we were moving around at your place today, that place had been selective cutting before. So it's kind of a little bit more wide open. And you don't have, even though you have the terrain features, you don't have the leaf or the cover features, which make it a little bit tougher to be working on birds. You're using that terrain to your advantage, where other places that I've hunted, that I hunt normally, they have both. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's a little bit thicker in the trees. There's other trees in there that normally leave before other you know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of ground
Yeah.
cover, so on and so forth. So you're using both of those things to your advantage. But I mean, that's what makes it the most fun. Like you get busted, and it's just, dude, they tricked you another day. That's a good day of turkey hunting, in my opinion. Like, let it be.
Those are honestly my favorite ones. Like, when you work a bird for multiple days,
Mm-hmm.
and you finally get the right setup or do the right thing to
Mm-hmm.
finally, excuse me, trick him and seal the deal. Those are the ones you remember the most.
Yeah.
The ones you got to come back and dance with him another day, and then
Mm-hmm.
he licks you again, and then you finally figure him out. Those are the best.
It just makes it so you keep coming back to what you're doing. So this afternoon, we ended up going into a piece of public and roosting to potentially hunt in the morning. We haven't really decided. We're going to go back home and get a game plan going. But there was a fly up, but no gobble. So we don't know if it's a hen or
Two
a
fly-ups.
jig. Well, yeah, 2 fly-ups. Hen or jig or gobbler. We don't really know yet, but it's an hour ride for us. So is it worth it on the fly up? I don't know. We'll have to talk about it.
I don't think so.
I mean, who knows? Well, that's because you want to kill the bird at your house.
He's gonna die.
Yeah.
He's gonna die. He's a good bird too.
We just haven't decided on what we want to do. I think, honestly, we might have to take the walk. That's my personal opinion.
I'm leaning towards that.
And this is the thing, dude. We've been up early. It's 9 p.m. right now. We're recording. We have to then drop the podcast. We have to leave the house at what? 3:30? 3:15. Yeah, 3:15. So, I mean, this is turkey hunting, dude. This is turkey camp. I'm going to be miserable as hell tomorrow. Tired as shit. I hope I can pull the trigger,
Hey,
though.
you know what I always say? Everybody wants to be a turkey hunter until it's time to do turkey hunting shit.
You know, we say that as a that's a captain meme, you asshole.
I'm not a fucking captain, so I don't say that.
Exactly. Everybody wants to be a captain until they have to do captain shit.
Yeah.
And that's what they always say, right? It is what it is. Oh, we're pulling in. We got to
get
fuel up for the
I gotta
drive.
get cigars. No, we're fueled up.
We need backwoods for the smoking.
Oh, we're
session.
smoking tomorrow, bub.
It's it. We're gonna smoke in the. Ooh, it'll be like a relive. I think the.
Bishop, don't get excited. We're not smoking the shit you think we're smoking.
Yeah. What is dude? What was? Did we figure out what the date is that we killed the double in that spot and we're going back there and relive it?
29th, I think you said.
Okay. So that's tomorrow.
I don't know, dude.
No, tomorrow's the 27th. We killed him on the 29th, so we're a little bit ahead. But, well, man, let's see what the turkey season brings for us. We're gonna have some fun. We'll have a recap. I think that we're gonna end up podcasting tomorrow night, dropping another podcast.
Are we gonna do that?
As long as we kill, I think is what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna full-fledgedly just keep dropping podcasts until, throughout our turkey camp. If we can kill tomorrow, we're gonna do another turkey. I mean, as long as it's a good story. You know what I'm saying? So, well, I hope everybody's having a great, successful season, and everybody, please get on over to the Outdoor Drive family over on Facebook and share your hunts with us. We definitely want to see them, pictures, kids, so on and so forth. You guys, your success through turkey season and what you guys got going on. That's most important to us. And make sure to check that out. And hopefully turkey season, is good for you. And hopefully we kill a bird in the morning, dude. As you guys are all listening to this, hopefully we're out there and we're killing. So stay tuned on our social media platforms. And for everyone else, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.